One or two lectures were offered to me at Nalsa or at some other big law college, and I went there and taught, and I understood the value of it. I will make the index for you, give it to me. Because while making the index, you will study the documents also. Right. You get a chance to do that. With all of such institutions, CIAC, ICC, MCI, everywhere. So we are not in a professional capacity, but generally, because most of our friends are directors or running these organizations. So they are that learned. Now, how you transform to a law firm is, again, I was referring during the session also that it happened to me by chance.
Greetings to everyone. Welcome to another episode of DNLU podcast. I am Namrata Singh, a third-year law student in Dharmashastra National Law University, Jabalpur. Today we have with us a very esteemed guest, Mr. Gauhar Mirza, partner at Cyril, Amarchand and Mangaldas. He has over 13 years of experience in advising and representing technology giants, leading construction companies and PSUs. Sir has also been an expert of technology law space and arbitration law, both domestic and international, and has also been recognized as a par speaker by Business World. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
Without consuming much time, we will directly move to the very first question. Sir, could you please share your incredible journey as a first-generation lawyer to specialization in technology law and arbitration for major firms? What valuable advice would you give to aspiring lawyers seeking a similar path?
Alright, so firstly, nothing is incredible. Okay, that is one. First generation, yes, it's a fact. I am a first generation lawyer. I started off from a chamber. I did my college from Jamia Millia Islamia, Delhi, and joined a chamber. As a first generation lawyer, I think everything was happening organically for me. I had no plans as such. Of course, there were people who were guiding us, but the guidance available at this point of time with you guys is far more than what we had at that point of time. But it happened naturally. I joined a chamber, and before I graduated, I actually used to intern in a law firm, in a corporate law firm, a boutique small law firm in Delhi, where I was a regular intern, and I used to make some small stipend also out of it to maintain myself in the city. So I thought that they will give me a job. They never offered me a job. Okay. So I was out there and I had to look for something. Of course, today I say that you should not consider law as a job, but now at that point of time, I only needed something to survive, and then I decided, somebody recommended me to a chamber, and they said, you try with these guys, and I joined them. So lucky for me that that chamber was one of the best chambers in Delhi, and my first boss is now a High Court judge also, Delhi High Court judge. So what happened initially is, because I was new to everything, I experimented everything. Whatever was coming my way, I used to do it. So I never, some questions asked in the sessions today were about what should be our niche, what should be our specialization. I think I never worked on that concept, and now with the flux of time, that actually has become a process of what people may follow as a. So I've done some interviews earlier also where I've spoken about not being in specialization in your initial stages of career. You should also focus on what new you can bring. For example, I will give you, when I started in chambers, I used to sit and ask all my seniors who were there in the chamber to do odd jobs for them. I will make the index for you, give it to me. Because while making the index, you will study the documents also. Right. You get a chance to do that. So I was doing more and more work than I was maybe expected to do or was bound to do. But that was fun at that point of time. I'm sure it's fun even today if somebody approaches it in a similar manner. So as a first generation, few issues you might face, I will never say that I've faced, is that the initial introduction into to systems, it becomes a bit of a problem. But now there are various opportunities, like you guys got me here. Some of you will get in touch with me. I will try to put you in touch with some people. So it's a networking profession, right? It's a people's profession ultimately. One person knows the other, and that's how it works and it functions. So as a first generation, the only predicament I would say, or a hurdle, you will be introduction to systems. But the profession is so beautiful that once you start working with people and working with different lawyers, they start becoming your family and your godfathers.
Definitely.
So today, if somebody calls my first boss and asks something about me, she will only say good things about me. That I may have worked hard, and this and that. Even today, I consider her to be my teacher, and every year now she's a judge, so I distance myself from her a bit. But every year on 5th September, I send her a message for Happy Teachers Day. So those are small things I maintain with all my mentors or seniors that I have worked with, because I think it's all teaching that happens, and that is how I at least approached the profession as a first generation. But with the flux of time, everybody will become your family in the profession, and they will all, today you refer in Delhi, at least I can confidently say, if you ask any of the senior counsels or anybody prominent in the system, they might know me. So that's how I developed or worked as a first generation lawyer.
Indeed, so. Moving to our next question. You mentioned regularly taking lectures at leading law schools and being a steering committee member of IAMC Hyderabad. How do you balance your professional commitments with teaching, and how has involvement in committees enriched your understanding of the legal field?
So, when you will grow up and become lawyers, you will always find this concept of giving it back. Right? If I have learned something the hard way, I would want others to understand what hardship is. So, a question was asked in your session about financial hardship. I asked a question back. Right, so this is how I want to give back. That what is exactly what hardship is, how you will be faced with hardship, how you will deal with this. So I think with my experience, only thing I would want to help younger generation or younger people is by teaching them how subjects. Of course, academically, I had actually not such a great inclination, but it happened by chance that one or two lectures were offered to me at Nalsa or at some other big law college, and I went there and taught, and I understood the value of it. So when you practically do things and you combine your academics with the practical aspects of things, you actually come out as a very good product, and that is what I want to deliver, and that is the reason I take up these assignments. I am a professor of practice in some big colleges. I am a visiting faculty in various colleges. A lot of online platforms reach out for general speaker assignments also with me. IAMC is one of the leading or upcoming young institutions in India. We need institutional arbitration. We were discussing since yesterday about institutional arbitrations and ad hoc arbitrations. Institutions is something we want to develop in India, and I am connected with all of such institutions, Shyag, ICC, MCI, everywhere. So we are not in a professional capacity, but generally, because most of our friends are directors or running these organizations. So, but IAMC, we are trying to thrive it as a homegrown, a make in India kind of a thing, where we want to cater to all the international standards and develop the concept of IAMC. Now, the question that you asked is, how do you take out time? So today, yesterday was Sunday. Today it's a government holiday, so the courts were off. Yes. So I've tried to find out time only during off, and if I have no hearing or arbitration planned on that day, you have to compromise on your personal comfort, your personal life. As I'm telling you, today is 27th November. It's my daughter's birthday today, but I am here doing this because this is a cause, according to me. You are younger people, your university is upcoming, you all need support, and that's what we value, and that is what my personal value system at least is.
Indeed, so. Moving to our next question. How did your early experience in chamber practice with your first senior shape your understanding of litigation, and what motivated your transition to joining law firms?
So, initially when you take litigation is all about filing, right? Filing cases. So that concept also happened with me organically. So when you go to a chamber which has a lot of matters, they will keep filing something every day. A reply, a small application, something, some clerk will be filing a process fee, etc. So you keep learning those terms slowly from them. We were told in the initial days that your best teacher is your court clerk. So that man or a woman who's a court clerk knows everything about the process, right?
True.
From filing to listing to how the judges how the files will reach to the judge's chamber to read, how will it come back and all. So they are aware of everything. You learn from them. So these people are your best buddies at that point of time when you are in litigation, when you start in chambers. But just pick it up and put it in a law firm scenario. So law firm, because younger generation who's coming directly to law firms and they do not know the value of a clerk or the value of people who actually make the whole system. That is where something lacks. But in litigation, you will learn everything, small things. What is the size of the paper? Do you know that there is a size of a paper, a color of a paper, font of a paper? How much of spacing can you do? All that is prescribed. You will learn it from your clerk. Of course, it is available on the website also, and the policy that comes up, the rules that come up with. But everything in a nutshell, like quickly, your clerk can say. Rather, I will tell you, at some point of time, we used to ask our clerk in the evening, take time from them. Can you please sit and see our application if it is rightly made? So they would say, no, this paragraph is wrong. Please change this. So they are that learned. Now, how you transform to a law firm is. Again, I was referring during the session also that it happened to me by chance that I was doing a matter against a law firm, and I did a fairly good job at that point of time, I would say, because then I was offered a position from them. They said, why don't you come and work with us? We are looking for somebody like you. And I considered that, and again, naturally a lot of good cases. I was just sitting and a big case came, and then I was completely engulfed into it. All the senior counsels that are possible in India, Mr. Kapil Sibal, Rajiv Nayyar, Dr. Singh, every big lawyer was engaged in that matter by that client. So we got exposure into their system. We were given the free hand to prepare for them, be with them, travel with them, sit in their offices, prepare, help them, assist them in the court. So all that opened up a lot of avenues. So I think it was not a plan that I want to join a law firm. Of course, in 2010 when I was graduating, I will tell you an instance that I was sitting in Bhopal waiting for my results to come out so I was just googling and I found out Luthra and Rajiv. I saw his picture and the background behind it. There was later on I was sitting in that office most regularly, but at one point of time I was thinking, wow, what an office, what a great guy with a pipe and beautiful background and Barakamba Road and all that. And I always thought that I don't know how do people reach there, and touch wood that by flux of time, Rajiv Luthra, I was the dearest to him. He loved me a lot. Now we don't have him anymore, but he conducted my interview also when I joined Luthra, and he was the warmest person anybody could ever see. I don't think there is anybody else who matches that vibe. But that's everyone has that dream, right? I would not say it was a dream, but I was in awe of that concept in 2010 prior to graduating and all that. Wow, such big people. And now today, thankfully, they're all on my mobile, WhatsApp, and I meet them regularly. They call me for work and all. So it happens with time.
Indeed, so moving to our next question. Given your expertise in both arbitration and technology law, how do these areas intersect? And what unique challenges do you encounter in handling disputes related to technology, privacy policies, and intermediary liability?
Yeah, so tech law is an upcoming area. There's things that are changing so rapidly in AI, deepfake, other things that are developing very fast. So that is I would say the fastest moving area where law is trying to manage its way, because once we develop something, when we come up with a rule or an act, the concept of the product or the technology changes, right? So if you today sit and draft a policy around AI will change to something else. We were drafting it for control of fake information. We have reached to a situation where computer will itself create a fake information and circulate it, right? So that gap is, and you have to be very rapid. This also happened by chance, because my more and more focus during my days at SAM was arbitration. But one day my colleague offered me that, do you want to do this? Do you want to try it? I never say no to anything. I said, okay, I'll try it. So I started doing that, and I found it very interesting because it was challenging. You had to manage with the US client on their timeline. You have to see what their product requirements are. How do you cater to them? How will a small mistake in your strategy or your advice can hamper millions and billions of people around the world? Because the numbers that were given to us, the number of WhatsApp users or the number of messages or the kind of posts that are shared every day is humongous. You cannot even by any stretch of imagination count them. So one small mistake made by us can affect so much of it. We should also understand that right now everyone attacks or right now everyone criticizes these intermediaries or these big tech, but you have to also understand how beautifully they have connected the whole world. Today, if you want to connect to anyone, rather I will give you an example of COVID. When COVID was happening, the relief, if somebody needed oxygen, if somebody needed medicine, everything was happening over either a tech platform, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google, etc. So with every positive thing, there is a negative thing which comes up. When you invent or when you manufacture a knife, it can be used to cut vegetable or a cake and even a human being, right? So crime can be committed by the same knife. Similarly, technology, you can be happy about it, you can be connected to friends, but then wrong uses are also there. But do you, by that logic, stop or ban manufacture of knife? Answer is no. You have to develop a culture of right usage. If you today decide that you will be using these technologies to the best of human advantage, it will always be beneficial for you. And if you develop them or think that you should be doing it only to affect or to hamper somebody or to harm someone, you can use it best. So that is how it happens. And when you talk about these various areas of litigation, intermediary liability, etc., I have done most of the privacy related disputes for the tech giants, and I have realized that a lot has to be done. A lot of knowledge, a lot of exposure has to be created in our ecosystem generally in India, where people have to first understand what they are trying to say. So a basic difference between X and Y is very big. For example, do you know the difference between WhatsApp, normal WhatsApp, and WhatsApp business?
Yes.
Right. So those things at some level are missing. So we have to reach that level of explanation. And as lawyers, our endeavor is to make everyone aware that it is not as bad. It may be bad. It can be bad. It can be used for bad. But then it is ultimately not bad if you know exactly how it is to be used.
Indeed, so. Before we go, I want to express my sincere gratitude to Mr. Gauhar sir for taking out his precious time and sharing his insights. Sir, before we wrap this, would you like to give any advice to the students who are there in their initial years and are focusing or want to focus or pursue their career in arbitration law?
So arbitration, do not, I always say that you want to pursue a career generally for your own development, right? You want to be a good counsel in arbitration. Never think that you want to be an arbitration expert or you have to have a career in arbitration. Arbitration, again, you see, it's 1996 Act developed only in the last 10 years. Before that, there was no arbitration. Maybe we developed mediation more. So never focus, like somebody was in the session saying that I have a lot of passion for IBC also. IBC practice is almost came to a point where there is actually not much of effective practice. Arbitration, of course, will not die because it has a lot of international connect to it, and it's very fashionable, right? Everybody likes to be associated with arbitration today. I've seen many people, young people, they all want to be called arbitrators, but you have to also understand how many arbitrations are happening actually. There are very limited companies, very limited database of disputes happening, and everybody wants to do it. So if everybody wants to do it, somebody will not be doing it. Somebody will be doing it, somebody not be doing it. But when you approach that you want to be an arbitration expert, you should first learn your skills in general dispute resolution and general handling of cases, general way of conducting yourself. It will automatically apply to arbitration. Dressing up nicely with a tie, wearing nice shoes, nice clothes, everything, that's not something which is not arbitration. Right? Arbitration is actually a lot of hard work. when you've not realized. I have seen documents, half of this room filled documents for an arbitration. So I have read each and every page of that. So there is a lot of hard work required, a lot of reading required, a lot of general awareness of law required. What is happening outside of India? What is happening inside of India? How many committees are being formed to change? There is a recent committee which is formed for change in arbitration. So you have to be aware generally. As lawyers, practice anything. Criminal, civil, arbitration, whatever you feel like. But generally be very, very aware of what's happening and keep applying it to your general life, everyday life. You will ultimately become an arbitration. I never decided on, when I graduated in 2010, I was telling her, I'm telling you, that I actually had no clue what I will become at one fine day. But then arbitration happened automatically, and then tech happened. Now 50% I am divided into tech and arbitration. So I don't know, if something new comes up that comes to me, I will take that up, and then it will be 33%. So you never know. So don't be hell-bent on I'm just going to do arbitration. It's all, I am telling you, I discussed yesterday in the session, do not over-glorify. Do not over-glorify in your own mind. Everything has a system, everything has a place, and whatever glorification you're seeing on Instagram or in LinkedIn, etc., I'm also a slight part of it, but do not fall for it so easily. It's not as fashionable as you guys actually think.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your precious time. It was a great session.
Thank you.